Boundaries is the topic today. There's a lot of confusion around boundaries in this world. And a few months ago, I had complete clarity, complete epiphany about boundaries, what it means. And when I find something wrong in you, it means there's something wrong in me. So if you find something wrong in someone else, baby girl, it means something's wrong in you. When you complain about someone else or you blame someone else, you're complaining about God's handiwork. Our book says, those of you that know in recovery, you're complaining about God. You're literally like disrespecting God when you say, ooh, they're this, ooh, they're that. You're disrespecting God. That's God's handiwork, that person. So do not do that. I was just in a meeting with over 150 plus women. Double winner meeting. I love that meeting. However, what happened, which has happened to me a few times over the years, I'm in the meeting and I start to hear a lot of crying, complaining. To me, is victim mode. I used to be a victim too. I was a very victim thinker because I was abused as a kid. I grew up with drug addiction and alcohol addicted parents. My mom's not today. I love you, Mom. She's all good. Yeah, my dad has passed away. The one that my biological dad. So I only knew the victim mode, and that's what happens when we get to these meetings, support groups. Sometimes it sounds like that, like everybody's complaining, it's all victim mode. Nah, 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 nah. Well, I've been going for over 18 years successfully, 33 years if I would have stayed on track. However, I have made every mistake I think there is to make. I know there's a lot of yets that could happen. So, however, I made a lot of mistakes, so I have learned a lot. My experience is mile high in that department, and I often realize that it's not common to know that when you feel irritated in a meeting or you're starting to judge it and criticize, which is one of our principles, that we listen without judging and criticize, but if that begins to happen, it's an indicator we need to give. We need to raise our hand and give something to that meeting, especially if we have a solution, something that works, which I do. I've learned that we don't blame, we don't complain, and that healthy individuals know how to set proper boundaries. I didn't know how to set a proper boundary 18 years ago. I would try to change you instead. If you upset me or were negative or did something I don't like, oh, you cuss too much, blah, blah, blah. Well, I need you to stop doing that because it bothers me. No, you don't change their behavior. Setting a boundary does not mean telling them to change their behavior or doing something to change their behavior. No, it's not sticking up for yourself. That's not healthy. Setting a proper boundary means expressing how that makes you feel. You know, it makes you feel like irritated that you're doing that. But if you have the right to do that, but if you continue doing that, this is what I'm going to do. This is how my behavior is going to change. I have to say it that way, but you get the point. Setting a boundary means changing your behavior, not theirs. Okay? We don't try to control other people or things or places. We don't. We don't control people, places, and things. We can't. We can only control our own behavior, our own environment, where we go, who we choose to be around. We have control over that. We don't get to exert control over another human being, get them to change their behavior. We are not God. Well, I think I am, but it's a different story. Okay, for another day. You are not God. So, yeah, I'm so tired right now, but I have to. I've been wanting to do this YouTube channel, and I feel totally inept. However, it's just on my heart to do it. So I must learn it. I must learn to speak. I must learn to get on here even when I'm tired, no matter what. So here I am today. After this meeting, I realized it is making me ill the way women, myself included, that we have allowed ourselves to be victims for so many years. Now I see why I'm always drawn to, all my life I've been drawn to men for their strength. Yeah, yes, I love men too, but when I was younger, I always had a best friend that was a man. I was a tomboy. I played sports. People always thought I was a cheerleader. I have this Barbie cheerleader look, but I always played sports. I played soccer all my life. I love soccer. I was like a dynamite left forward because I could kick with both feet. I have this uncanny ability to use both feet. I guess that's not a thing. Most people, just like being right-handed or left-handed, well, you're the same way with your feet. But I don't know. They call hands ambidextrous. I don't know what they call when you can use both feet. My mom is ambidextrous. So maybe I am too. I haven't really tried the hands too much, but I've always been drawn to sports, male-dominated stuff. Worked prison job for 22 years. It's just, and I believe it's because of their strength and their not being a victim most of the time. And so it's time for us women to raise up. No more being a victim. And I had to decide. I had to hear it in recovery. The mentors that I had to tell me. Victim No Longer was one of the books I read years ago. I don't remember who the author was. Victim No Longer. It's time to not be a victim. We are not a victim of other people's behaviors or what they say to us or what happens to us. We need to take 100% responsibility for every single thing that happens to you. 100%. No blaming, no complaining. Zero done data. Zero. Because the minute you do, you put yourself in the victim mode. When we take 100% responsibility for everything that happens to us, that means that we can change it. We can have an impact on what to do about it. So stop being a victim today, if that's your MO. If someone is irritating you, their behavior, decide what you need to do that. Recently, I moved into another room in my house because the behavior was bothering me. I love my house. I didn't want to leave my house, but I just said, I don't like this, so if this continues, then I'm going to move over here because I can control that space. I can control my behavior. I control my atmosphere. I can shut the door. I still be at the house I love and not be subjected to the behaviors that I felt were disrespectful to me. And sure enough, it's working out great. So things are so much better. But that was a big epiphany for me, and it took me a while to see that when you see something wrong in the world or another person, it means something needs to change in you. Every single person, every single one is a mirror of you. For example, this morning I started to get irritated with someone that I had a thought that, like, dude, they are not a good listener. They just talk over me, and that means where I've been doing that. There's literally a mirror when you hear that criticism in your head. It's an indicator you are doing that. Every single person is a mirror of you. I know that's a mind. It takes a minute to wrap your brain around that. However, if you take 100% responsibility for everything that happens to you, and you consider that when you get irritated, look at you instead. What needs to change in you? Reflect inside to your heart chakra. Reflect inside. Okay, I'm feeling irritated. This person. What do I do? Listen for the voice inside. Every single answer is inside of you. You have every single answer. It is not ever another person's fault. Not ever. The ill feelings that you have. I love you.